So it's October 13th. I got here September 9th. So it's been a month. And you might notice I haven't made another video yet, and that was because I kind of had nothing to say, or do, or show. And likewise, I kind of don't have a lot to show this time. We'll see. You might hear that I sound like I'm screaming at an Xbox. And that's actually a creative choice. I meant to do that on purpose. So don't complain or say anything about it, because it will hurt my feelings if you don't like my artistic vision. Man, it's kind of been... It's a mixed bag these last few weeks, right? I think when I say that, everyone would essentialize that to mean I'm not having a good time, and that's not what I want to say. There can be many different ways to not have a good time. I think you could literally not have a good time, as in like no part of it is good. That's not me. I am having a good time. I'm loving France. I'm loving Toulouse specifically. My classes are fine. I really like the friends that I've made. They're awesome in a lot of ways. But I'm kind of struggling with something a little more existential, which, if you know me and my like really deep thoughts, is very par for the course. So it makes sense, you know, you go somewhere very far away, you know, like you just are in this life space where everything is very different. Of course, you're going to be thinking about big picture things. But I've been getting more and more frustrated at certain points about different things. And so maybe that's the bit of evil swirl that I put into this generally good, I'll say, stew that is my experience in France, because I like stew, right? So I'm having a great time. But I'm kind of getting hung up on some large questions. What am I doing here? Number one. Now, to a lot of people, that question doesn't make sense. From me. Like saying that question, what am I doing here, doesn't make sense. Because I think there's kind of been a draw to essentialize me as the two things that I do, is history and French. That's like kind of it. That's what a lot of people associate me with. That's what I've been doing for the last 3 years, almost now 4 years of my college career. So it makes sense that people say that. But it's even broader than that. Why am I doing this? History, I think I can square. I think I can still convince myself that I have time to get on the track that I want to, and that that's a worthy cause, and that is still what I want to pursue. So that I'm not having problems with. But it's the actual French part. It really is. I think saying this out loud, some people would assume that I'm talking about like falling out of love with the language. I don't think that's it either. I think it's more, I need to figure out how far I want to go. Which doesn't make sense for a lot of people, because I think the answer would be, I guess, become fluent. But then the question becomes, why? If I go back to the States and I pursue a degree, maybe multiple degrees in history, and stay in a place that largely, not even largely, almost exclusively, really, speaks English, or else that's how I'd be interacting with the world. The question really becomes, what am I doing here? You know? I was in a French class today, and I was, maybe for the first real time, struggling to understand what he was talking about and struggling to read what was on the board. And I kind of sat there and I really understood that at this point in time in my knowledge journey, maybe, is how I might describe it, I'm definitely at a hurdle. One that happens to everyone. It happens to babies. It happens to anyone learning a language, wherein you hit a point where you're not talking about the basics anymore. Grammar, all this different stuff, although I might need to practice it, which I do. We're past that, really. And now we're into parts where I'm going to realize I don't know anything at all ever. Right? And it's a frustrating thing to do, because you feel like you've done so well understanding everything, or maybe there's a sunk cost fallacy kind of thing going on where you think, I've spent so much time developing this, what's essentially a skill maybe, I should be better at it. I'm not going to say I was a saint of a student, right? I wasn't sitting there trying so hard. There are definitely other people in my classes who knew French better than me, or at least who wanted to, or at least who, in the academic practice of French, were doing well. which wasn't me. I did a lot. My phone, my computer, pretty much every movie I watch, pretty much every game I play, are all in French. So I've done a very succinct job, maybe, at making sure a lot of the stuff I deal with on a day-to-day is in French. So that at least I'm flexing. But other than that, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't. Some dude asked me if I went and got this little burrito thing. And the dude asked in French if I wanted to heat it up. And I had him repeat himself maybe 3 times. Which, yeah, okay, fine. That happens. But it's just like, I want to break into it. I feel like maybe I've been not embracing the fact that I'm a American in France right now. I think I've been playing with that kind of a little bit, say with my other friends. They're from other places, so we're constantly kind of comparing that. But I don't think I've really set with the fact that I am an American in France. You know what I mean? Like, I won't understand everything, or I can't in a certain way. But the bigger question is this, and something I've been really, I'll say, wrestling over. And it's only prescient because I'm at a certain point in my life where, the decisions I've made before don't really matter. I've gone through undergraduate, almost finished with it now, and that choice is important technically, but it's a little bit inconsequential. It doesn't always matter where you went. You can get a bachelor's degree, go through university, and ultimately you can start again if you want to, right? So the question is, the choices that I make in the future, the near future, in the next year, that I'm going to be making these choices that will be affecting the rest of my life, which is something kind of unheard of in my experience so far. I mean, I'm turning 22 this month, and this is the first decision, right? Not just thing I've had to do, like get a job, or do these other things, like pay taxes, do jury duty, whatever. It's not just something I have to do, but it's something that will have lasting consequences for how my life plays out. I'm here in France, and I've been told of a lot of opportunity for higher education, and that's kind of really stuck with me. I have to kind of seriously consider if France, and French by proxy, is the choice I want to make for my future. And I think that it's actually a very hard choice for me that I'm kind of delving with. Because a lot of people, it would probably be like, no. It'd probably be like, no, or there's not really a huge opportunity for that. But for me, I think there's something kind of alluring about that kind of opportunity. And I think the thing, even though I complained about my whole ability at the beginning to speak French, I think I've known that this part I'm in is the part you have to push through. The part that you have to dig your heels in and really work to be able to understand it. I felt that feeling, and I know that's what it costs. And personally, I'm willing to pay it, but the question becomes, for what? So these are really my only problems. I came here, and I was really chewing it over on my commute from class today, because I had to leave early, or I left early. That's the statement. I left early because I was getting very frustrated with how out of focus I was, how little of the actual lecture I was picking up, and frankly, I was impatient. I didn't want to have to wait another 2 hours, even though it was going to be the more interesting information. I am a huge fan, as some might know, of the Byzantine Empire, and moreover, history, especially of early medieval period. And that's what the other half of the lecture was going to be about. So ostensibly, I left a lecture that was going to talk about something I was really passionate about, and I think I want to show how frustrated I was there. That's how frustrated, so I left. And I did a commute home. I took a bike, and biking has been awesome. That's something I didn't talk about in my first video. It's something I only really discovered in the last 2 days. It's amazing biking around here, and I realize I have the chops for it too, which is also very interesting, because you kind of have to be a very high functioning biker to bike around here successfully, and I feel like I've done that a few times, and that was very satisfying. But it's just been kind of very existential. It really has. Because I love French, I really, really, really do, and I love how people are when they speak French. I love the language. I love what you can say in it. You know what I mean? Like there is a unique part of the human experience, and this goes with all languages, but this is the one I've chosen, French, that you can unlock by knowing it. You understand the world 2 times as well as you did before. That's literally what that means, to know another language. And that's really alluring to me. And so maybe it's frustrating to then have doubts about that. You know? Because I think it's very easy to say, oh, I minored in a language in college. And I took classes in high school. So yeah, I know a little bit of French. I don't want that to be me. I do not want that to be me. At all. So I gotta figure out what I want to do. And I think this ends up being a little bit of a downer. I don't have as many quips or jokes with this one. Because I literally sat down and was like, I have something to say. I need to get this off my chest. And I feel like it's a good exercise to kind of show everyone else that for me, I'm taking this much more seriously than I know a lot of other people do. I don't think I can be like, oh, I'm just here to have fun. I am here to learn. And I am here to learn about the world, right? And that I find fun. But I don't think the answer is don't speak French, right? I don't think the answer is ignore the parts of the world I don't understand because I'm only here for a little bit. You know what I mean? Might as well have fun with stuff I do understand. That is not a pathos that strikes me. You know what I mean? I don't like that idea. And so I don't think that way. I'm not gonna. But maybe in a very roundabout way, I have come to appreciate, I'll say even Europe broadly more. There's something very maybe inclusive about Europe that I really appreciate. And I really, really, really like the idea of being able to be a part of that. What kind of feels like a web, maybe. Being a part of that web of culture and people and everything. I really like that. But I think I'm getting rambly here, so I'm going to try to succinctly make a point now. I think I really am drawn here, right? I really do like it. It feels very nice, you know what I mean? And I think the only reason I'm having any kind of weird feelings about it is because I am technically an outsider looking in right now, which means I'm kind of seeing everything a little bit clearer than, say, someone who's a tourist that has a big American flag shirt, be like, je parle pas le français, you know, I don't know. In summation, I am having a good time. I am. I'm enjoying myself. I love this city. My kind of like time is being very well spent personally. I think I could do better. I think I could go out technically more. I definitely need to travel. I've kind of made it a resolution to leave and do something this weekend because I haven't. So I've been in Toulouse and I really have been exploring it, like just going all over and walking miles and miles and miles a day. But I think I'm really gonna have to get out. And I still have a lot to think about. You know, if anybody has any ideas or similar experiences, again, this is a vlog, so I'm going to say speak up, right? Say something down below, and I hope that maybe in my confusion and experience, some kind of clarity comes over it. I mean, I know it. In the end, I'm going to have an answer, but right now it's just hard to parse. So I'm going to try to make something else probably by the end of the month. Or at least beginning of November, because my birthday's coming up at the end of October, and I'm also doing a Paris trip with some of my really good friends, my best friends even. And so I hope to kind of gather some stuff from that trip to be able to have a really solid next video. Anyways, thank you for listening to me ramble for I don't know how long, a long time at this point it feels. And well, I hope your day is going very well and that you can self-actualize in a way that makes you feel good. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Bye-bye.